Hello and welcome to Not One Red Way, the podcast. It's me, Melissa Manuel, your co-host, and
It's me, Marvin Merawagin Yaga, they, them, theirs. I'm your other co-host.
how you doing, Marv?
Swell. I overdid it a little bit with the caramel creamer in my coffee this morning, so it's a little
Okay.
sweeter than normal. And I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I started my day by reading instead of on my phone. I know.
Whoa.
Standing ovation. Thank you. Healthy
I'm
choices.
clapping, snapping.
It was really nice. I love reading. It's a good thing to remember. So yeah, it's been nice to read a little more.
Okay, cool. What have you been reading?
I've been reading Heartless by Marissa Mayer.
Okay.
Fans of the Cinder series way back when. It's like
Yeah.
I loved that series when I was younger. It was like fairy tales, but in a futuristic, like cyberpunk aesthetic. Cinderella was a cyborg sort of thing. So this is what like a standalone novel in Alice in Wonderland retelling. So
Whoa.
good. I
Cool.
love her writing. Very compelling. So that's what I've been reading. Because we should have, what are you reading? If you're reading.
As per usual, a lot of fanfic. I also I also started reading The Open Veins of Latin America.
Oh.
Pretty good, pretty interesting. I'm trying to do more nonfiction now, you know, be
Because you're older and
intelligent more.
wiser.
Uh, every year just confirms I know that I know nothing. Um, Great to learn.
Yeah. So what is the book about?
Um, it's kind of like pre-contact, like before colonization in Latin America. So you're sort of
Mm.
like the book came out in the 1970s, so it's tracking sort of like the impact of imperialism, colonization on Latin America.
That sounds really interesting.
Pretty interesting.
I love it. Well, between your fanfic and your opening of the mind, I'm sure you're very well entertained.
I'm pretty entertained, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing what you're reading. Fun twist on our normal what are we watching? But now we get to introduce our amazing guest for today. Someone who I've followed back when Twitter was a thing, if anyone remembers. They are a design coordinator at Glitch Productions. Welcome, Rebecca Baza.
Hello,
Claps.
thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
It's
welcome.
good to meet you.
Yeah,
Are
thank you for having me on.
Are you watching or reading anything right now?
Reading, no. I wish I read more. I feel like I have to be in the right mood to read. Um, so I will take what you guys are reading and put it on a list of potential options. Watching right now, ugh. I feel like I'm not watching any shows really. I'm actually a big, huge sports fan, so I've actually been like
Ooh.
listening to like a lot of podcasts and stuff with football specifically because the football season just ended last week. So it's a lot about like the combine and the NFL draft and like what players are gonna get drafted where. So I've been delving into that a bit more. I've been playing a lot of video games. I feel that
Ooh.
uh, during the holiday season, I try to like catch up on my backlog. So I actually beat Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Absolutely fantastic game. Highly recommend. Have not been able to stop thinking about that game since I beat it. Playing through Ghost of Yote right now.
Ooh.
And then playing through Pokemon Legends ZA. And I still have to finish Silk Song before the DLC comes out. So that's kind of where I've been at.
Yeah.
I've kind of been all over the place, I feel, lately.
That's a good scope of games. Like, you play a nice range of type of games, too.
Yeah, I try to play a varying spectrum of games versus just like I will only play this. So it's never like I don't know the basic ones that I feel like Modern Warfare or anything like that. I've never been that kind of gamer. I'm like I like to be told a story, or games that have good art direction and art design. And like I feel a lot of games that fit that are now like indie games. To Sandfall, who made Expedition 33, that was their first game. You have Team Cherry with Hollow Knight and Silksong.
Mhm.
Pokemon obviously doesn't fit into that category, but the
Yeah.
nostalgia, they've got me. So yeah.
Yeah, I played CA, but there's so much to do, it's still not done. It's like, got the post
Yeah.
stuff, and then I got the DLC, shouldn't
Mhm.
have been a DLC, but whatever, and there's still so much to do.
Yeah. I need to get further so I can get to the DLC and post game stuff. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, I have a lot of, like, weird, I guess, game devy things about it where I'm like, "You have so much money.
I
Spend
know,
more
I
time on your
know,
games," but it's
for
still
sure.
fun.
Well, it's like I look at Game Freak, who's done the Pokemon games for like forever, and they're doing a cool new game called Beast of Reincarnation, which
Really?
looks fantastic, and it looks so different from anything like Pokemon that I'm like, this is what they're capable of, but like they keep just putting out the same game each and every year with Pokemon. I'm like, this is insane. Like they've unlocked their potential, it seems, from the trailers and gameplay bits that I've seen.
That's awesome. Good to know. I'm gonna
Mm.
check that out.
Yeah.
Marv, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. So we usually sort of start off each episode with a hard-hitting question. You got a little background that I'm a social worker. So usually I'm meeting somebody for the first time and it's like, let's go in chronological order, every one of your worst days, and then we'll talk about why you're here. Um,
Okay.
the easy stuff.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, um, what's a topic you could give a TED Talk on?
Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Probably my Chicago Bears.
Okay.
My sports team, I could probably give a good TED Talk about them. I'm a big, football fan and just, like, a sports fan in general. I actually was studying before, like, video editing, animation production, before any of that, I was studying to be, an athletic trainer. I was, like, studying sports medicine.
Wow.
'Cause I was like and I still think I would've enjoyed that and been good at it, but I was like, I like art and cartoons, so ended up pivoting. Uh, but yeah, I feel like a TED Talk on, like, the Chicago Bears, I could definitely do, like, a nice little 10-minute presentation, on them. Specifically their this past season that they had, where they, like, had a complete rehauling of, like, their coaching staff. They went from, like, one of the worst teams in the league to, like, one of the best teams in the league. So, yeah,
Oh,
I could
okay.
give a little TED talk on that and just how, cool their season was.
Love that.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about football, but, like, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about the Chicago Bears.
Football, I feel, is the hardest sport for people to understand because I feel that, like, baseball, you hit the ball, you run the bases. Basketball, you shoot the ball in the hoop. Hockey, you shoot the puck into the net. With football, it's like there's just a lot going on. People are moving around all over the field. There's run plays, there's pass plays, there's like a million penalties that could get called. I feel it's just a lot going on. It's like a
Mhm.
lot of rules and stuff, and I feel that's kind of like the big gap with football, is because there's just so much happening. Once you kinda, like, understand, like, the base rules, I feel it's a lot easier to get into it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Mm.
Are the Cubs your team? Like, the team you root for
I
every year?
do like the Cubs. Like, I'll root for the White Sox. It's the other Chicago team. I'm like, I'll root for them. I have no animosity towards them, but I do prefer the Cubs over the White Sox.
Okay. Okay.
We're not sports people, like, we watch the Super Bowl for, the halftime show
The
as
halftime show is the best part, 100%. Like, the rest of the Super Bowl, awful. Halftime show, best part.
Yeah, but it was like, for me, football's always like, why they stop every 2 seconds? Like, that part
Yeah,
for me was always
yeah,
hard to get over.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's nice to meet people who love football because regardless of the sport or the thing, I love to hear people talk about what they love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's over, so now I gotta wait a bit before I can
Yeah,
enjoy it again, but it was a fun season overall.
good.
Good. Melissa, your TED Talk?
I'm passionate about a lot of things. longtime listeners may know, it could be a Once Upon a Time TED Talk because that's kind of top of mind. I just watched all of Hailey Whipjack's video essays on those. Excellent, top tier cinema. And if I could have a conversation with Hailey Whipjack, I'd finally feel like I'd met someone who understood my freak on that. I feel like my TED Talk would be like how the show would be better if Mr. Gould wasn't a character. Like if you just take him out, leave Rumpelstiltskin, excellent character. Rumpelstiltskin, every time he's around, he's amazing. Robert Carlyle playing Rumpelstiltskin should have won something, some sort of award. But Mr. Gold, every time he's on the screen, sucks all the life out of the show. I hate him. And him and Belle being a thing. That is like, if you need an example of what a toxic relationship is, it's them. Every
Yeah.
time Belle's like, I can love you. You're the man behind the beast. Just like terrible. So yeah, probably that. Just like how we can improve this program. Taking him out. Take him out.
Yeah.
That's one.
I love that. I wanna hear that. Like, if you had an hour to tell me about it, I'd listen to it for an hour.
Thanks.
I feel people do those videos where they're like, let's rewrite the X series or X movie and see
Yeah.
what that would look like. And it's like a 2-hour video, on YouTube.
I love those videos.
Yeah. They're fun.
What would your TikTok be, Marv?
Mine, like, right now, so Rebecca, I work at a university and I work with students.
Okay.
So something I think about a lot is how to explain studying to someone. So I've been researching a lot, and I'm gonna do a program soon about the Pomodoro study technique. I mean, it's not for studying specifically, but it can be used pretty effectively for studying. And I need a whole hour to break down the research. Absolutely. And I need to break down why you actually do need a little tomato kitchen timer to do it the right way.
Cute.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
listen to that. I feel especially now, I feel people with AI and ChatGPT, they don't study. They
Yeah.
don't do anything. So I'm like, oh no, people just don't know how to do anything for themselves. Even like emails now, they like summarize your emails automatically. I'm like, I don't need you to summarize my email. Like I can read. Thank you very much.
Literally. Every time AI stuff pops up, I'm like, please stop. I can do it. I can read. Which may be the secret motivation of me trying to read again this year. It's like, I can do it. I knew how before, and I still can now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got it in us to focus. We just need to set up the framework for doing it in an effective way. And that's what I'm trying to teach, first off. Second off, I'm just like, I've read so many articles and it has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You need an outlet for all this
I-
information.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love our little TikToks. I feel like they'd all be really educational and fun to watch.
True.
Thank you for sharing, everyone. Let's move on to our next segment, which is all about Rebecca. We usually start with your background, and you shared a little bit already about how you originally wanted to go into sports medicine. And my first question usually is, did you always know you wanted to work in animation? So can you share a little bit more about what your first dream job was? What was that journey like?
Sure. I guess if we're going way, way back, it was like when I was 7, I'm like, I'm going to be a dolphin trainer or something like that,
Yeah.
I feel that was like a stereotypical dream job for a lot of elementary school students. I don't know. I always liked drawing as a kid. I was very much into anime, so Pokemon, Sailor Moon was definitely more kind of up my alley just from a young age versus what was on Disney, even Disney movies. I could
Mhm.
appreciate the art of Disney movies, and I think that was something also that looking back in retrospect, girls wanted the princess dresses and everything like that, and the outfits and the dolls. And it was I was never really into that. I was just oh my God, this is so cool that people draw like this. So I was kind of had that kind of mindset when it came to animation. as I got older, it was like, okay, how would I turn that into a career? And I feel like, especially looking back, even like when I was younger, there was really not a lot of information on how to get into the animation industry. It was like, you have to
Mhm.
draw really well and you have to go to Cal Arts.
Yep.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you won't get into the industry, kind of a thing. So I was like, okay, let's table that. But because I did like sports, I started studying like sports medicine and looking to get into athletic training kind of during like my high school years. And then I actually went to a college, North Central College, that was in my hometown because I'm from the Chicagoland area originally. And I was studying athletic training there because they had a really good program there. But then after about like a semester, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. So I kind of pivoted. I took just like some gen ed courses at community college for a bit online while I was working. And then I ended up going to Columbia College in Chicago for a bachelor's in cinema arts and sciences that kind of concentrated in 2D. And like it was fine. I don't think it's necessary that you need to go to college. I think a lot of it depends on kind of what you want to get out of the experience. If you're someone who feels like you need courses and classes to get to where you want to go, or to kind of have a pathway to make connections to get you into the industry, I think college could be, a course for you. For me, I was like, I don't really want I don't really want to be here. I was like, I'll get my degree and I will leave and do my own thing. While I was there, I was kind of like, I don't know. I think this is kind of the other thing about college is that, at least in my experience, they didn't really talk a lot about the industry. It was kind of just this constant, like, here's your assignments every single week. And I got really bored and tired of that. So I kind of fell out of love with it. But I taught myself video editing. I was like, I like making YouTube videos. I'm like, let me just like teach myself this. So I started just teaching myself video editing. And so after college, I got into video editing and was like a freelance video editor. I did like my own YouTube stuff kind of on the side. And then this this little thing called COVID-19 happened in the year 2020. And so everything basically shut down. I was doing my video editing thing, and then I was working as a editor with another YouTube channel called Proco, which does like art tutorials over there. And so I worked with them for a bit. I was originally supposed to move from Chicago to San Diego to be in the area to go to their office, but because of COVID, they're like, stay there. And I was like, you don't got to tell me twice. I'm like, I will stay, but worked remotely there for a bit, and then just kind of like coincidentally with like Owl House coming out kind of around that time, and then just me doing my own YouTube channel on the side, I started doing that just for funsies. And then my channel kind of started picking up traction. That kind of became my job for a bit. I ended up leaving Proco just to do YouTube full time, and then did that for like, I don't know, year and a half. And then my younger sister messaged me really randomly one night. She was working, she had recently graduated from the University of Iowa. She got offered a job very randomly in LA to work at AEG Presents, to one of the execs there in their comedy division. She's like, "Hey, I think I'm moving to LA. Do you want to move with me?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And then it just so happened that they were looking for production positions on Owl House. And I had done an interview with Dana previously when I was still doing YouTube. I was like, hey, do you know if this job has been filled? And they were interviewing people. So I sent like my resume over, did the whole interview process. And then that's kind of how I got into animation. The simple 10-step process that
Yeah, 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 yeah.
definitely is exactly how everyone else got into the industry.
Simple 10-step
Yeah.
process. Go to
Yeah.
college, not really
Mm,
enjoy it, edit
yeah.
for a company, global pandemic,
I know,
um
that's really key. You really need a global pandemic in there.
yep, become a YouTuber, super easy, and
Yeah.
then you're in.
Yeah. So yeah, very crazy journey. Very grateful and appreciative for, everything that, led to me getting here. But it's kind of silly just looking back. I'm like, there's people who are like, I want to draw. And they just like knew that they wanted to draw from the start. And they got there and they're doing the thing, they're drawing, they're working in animation. I'm like, my path was like just all over the place
Mhm.
to get here. But I mean, that's kind of like how it ends up being, I feel, for a lot of people in the industry as
Yeah,
well, though.
definitely. Well, let's retrace
Yeah.
and a little bit go back in time
Mm.
to break it down. So when you were an editor for Proco,
Mm.
is that where you kind of got a lot of your skills? Were you self-teaching or did you pull on, like, editing skills from college?
I definitely learned working with Proco because the other thing is I was working with other editors. Like all the stuff that I did just was kind of me. So this was kind of the first time I was working with a team and it was more of a collaborative process. So it was kind of just like, kind of more stuff of just like setting up your files in various ways to make it more user friendly for whoever picks it up next. Because before I'm like, I have my own file and I'm going to set it up how I want.
Yeah.
And I was working in like Premiere and stuff like that. So I think like the collaborative aspect of it. I mean, I never did like tutorials or anything like specific like on my channel, which was more like video essay analysis kind of stuff with animation. This was definitely more of like tutorials. So it'd be me combing through like tens of hours of like footage of like a tutorial and like trying to pick the key moments that, I would think would best suit the video and then, sending that to, the other editors or, whoever was in charge and getting their feedback. And they're like, okay, like keep this, let's add this here. Let's speed up this section. Let's cut away to, this B-roll here or something like so it was like kind of stuff like that where it wasn't just me working on my stuff. It was, I'm at the end of the day, I'm kind of making like a product for another person and, getting their feedback and taking notes. So I mean, like critique and feedback is great. I mean, it's how you grow in whatever field you're in. So I welcomed it. But it was kind of like once my own stuff started taking off, I was like, well, I like doing my own stuff more.
Yeah.
Not to say that, like, I didn't enjoy my time at Proco and that I didn't learn a lot there. It was just like, I'm having fun doing my own thing. So I ended up leaving, but appreciative for, the experience that I got there.
Yeah. I was watching one of your, I think, later not episodes, but, something you posted on YouTube. That was, like, the one-year anniversary of the finale of Owl House,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
and I am shocked and amazed I imagine that taking, like, forever to do. Like, there's so many cuts in it, and you're pulling
There
from
are indeed a lot of cuts where I was like, I have this vision. I'm like, I'm gonna put a clip from every episode in the series. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
That's
let's find
wild.
like the key moment from each one. It's a lot of like, I don't know, it's like one of those things. It's like the blue sky phase where, you're like, the sky's the limit. Do whatever you
Mhm.
want. And then you're like actually sitting there combing through like all the episodes trying to pick like, oh, which moment encapsulates this episode best. And you're like, God, I hate myself that I did that I'm my own enemy. But yeah, that was cool. It was a fun one. I can't remember how long it took me. I definitely procrastinated on that for a bit because I was like, I'll get to it. And then like the anniversary date was coming up. I was like, I better start doing that because I'm gonna have to comb through a bunch of episodes. So, but yeah, that was really cool. And like the music was done by I'm blanking on their name. I'm blanking on their channel name. I know I linked it in the video, but they do a lot of cool like Owl House remixes and like orchestrations of the score from the show. And I remember asking them, I'm like, can I use this? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, excellent. I have a vision for how this will play out.
Yeah. So, how did you become a full-time YouTuber? Like, that's always been very interesting to me. Like, how do you become someone who can only do YouTube financially?
um, I mean, I guess for me, it also depends. I'm kind of like frugal with my money. I feel
Mhm.
like I don't spend a lot, like even now, like living out in LA where it's even more expensive than where I was living back in Illinois. Like I didn't eat out a lot. I cooked a lot of my meals. I wasn't someone I hate going to like concerts and events because I'm like, it's loud and there's a lot of annoying people. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm not spending a lot of my money on stuff like that. I mean, it's also different for each person depending on, your view count, how much you're getting with like sponsorship opportunities and stuff like that. So, I mean, it kind of depends and varies just for each person and the content that they make. And thankfully, when I was kind of doing double duty with Proco and my own channel, I was able to kind of save up enough to,
Mhm.
sustain myself for a bit. But yeah, I mean, it varies person to person. There's like a lot of people who do YouTube or like stream, but also have like a day job and maybe they only work like part time for that. So yeah, I feel also since it was like COVID, just like everyone was stuck at home. And so people are like, I'm just gonna watch YouTube. So I think specifically like that period of time, just like everyone was on YouTube and specifically with Owl
Mm.
House, because that was the cool new show. Just a lot of people were watching it. So I think the views specifically around that time were just like very high, which means that you get more money. So yeah, so I think it's also just like, I don't know, trends and algorithms and all that stuff. And I'm so thankful that I don't really have to worry about that because I know like now there's shorts and the debate of like long form content versus short
Right.
form content and all that
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, I'm so grateful that I'm like, I don't gotta worry about any of that anymore. Uh
Yeah,
like I do miss YouTube and stuff like that, but I'm like, I'm so glad that is not like my job anymore.
fair. I was gonna ask, what was your favorite part of making those videos? Was it just because you loved the shows that you reviewed or editing the videos? What was the highlight of that time?
Definitely not the editing part, because my
Oh,
God,
fair.
I don't know why I tortured myself like this. I was like, "I'm gonna put out a video the same day the episode comes out," which means that I would
Whoa,
wake up yeah,
that's
which
intense.
means I would wake up at, like, midnight, drop the mid like, when it dropped on at midnight, I would watch it through, film the reaction, watch it through again, take all my notes, make a script, record the script, and then edit the video, and then, like, hopefully post it out, like, in the afternoon or early evening. I don't know why I did that to myself. Um,
Yeah, it's kinda like
so,
turning something you love into it I don't know, something
like,
else.
I think the reason that looking back, I still loved it because, like, in the moment, I was like, "I hate myself." I'm like, "This is awful. Why have I done this?" I think it's just, like, one, I did genuinely love the show, and I love talking about it, and kind of like what we were saying before, with, like, having all this information and, like, needing an outlet to, like, just put it out there. I was like, "I need to make a video. It's COVID. I can't really talk to anybody about this right
Mhm.
now. I need to make a video to, like, have a little self-contained thing that I can be like, 'Here you go, world. Here are my thoughts and me talking about this thing.'" So it was like that, genuinely loving and caring for the show, and it was like I'd always go on, like, a long walk after I finished editing a video, at night just because I was, like, sitting at my desk all day. I was, like, tired. I'm like, "Let me go on a walk and get fresh air." But I would, like, watch the comments come in and stuff like that and just like, "Oh my
Mhm.
god, so excited to hear your thoughts. Like, was waiting for this video all day." And, it's stuff like that that's just like, "Oh, yay, like, people like my stuff. Like, that's so cool." We're connecting over this show, like, even though COVID's happening and the world kinda sucks right now, it's like we're all kind of,
Mhm.
you know, bonding over, this mutual interest and love of this show, which was really, really cool. So that's kind of why I kept doing it. It's like, one, I did genuinely enjoy talking about the show, but it's also just getting that positive feedback from other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say you're building up your tolerance for editing leading up to this, like, finale anniversary? I'm gonna get a clip from every episode.
Like, I don't, I guess. I mean, like, the thing with the video is like it was kind of like a one and done where it's just like, all right, posted, we're done, we're good.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think like being able to kind of like build it up to that point where I was like, let's churn out these videos, guys. Uh, it definitely made me get faster. And I think that's something that I noticed. Like the longer I did it, the faster I got. Because the other thing that I noticed is that the videos got like so much longer, where they were like
Mhm.
30-40 minutes. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going longer, but I'm like, I'm finishing in like the same amount of time that like a 20-minute video it used to take me. So I was like, I'm getting better at it. I think there was definitely a gap between, me doing that to the 1-year anniversary video
Right,
coming out
right.
because, like, I wasn't doing video editing, so it's kind of like, I don't know, riding a bike again, after a bit. It's like, the muscle memory is still there, but you're still rusty in certain areas. But, yeah, like, combing through that or, like, even going back to, like, Proco stuff, like, combing through, like, a 20-hour video of someone doing like a drawing tutorial and trying to like pick little moments and stuff like that. It's kind of it just makes you use those muscles again.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I want to kind of pick that up and be like a good transition into, do you think your editing skills helped when you became a production assistant? Any of that experience of being a YouTuber and an editor, did any of that carry over? Or what was your experience being a production assistant like? Was it a lot of new
Uh,
skills?
yeah, I would say so. So like production is kind of the department that touches base and is in communication with all the other departments that are part of a show. So it's a lot of communication skills and organization. So I picked up a lot of that from like Proco, just like working with a team and, ultimately making a thing, for people to view. So I definitely picked up a lot of stuff from Proco, but like even just doing YouTube, it, YouTube, it's a lot of discipline if you want to make it work. It's a lot of, you know, being able to continually make videos, have an output, keep up that consistency, scheduling your videos, being able to communicate to your audience. It's a lot of that. So I think like you kind of really have to be motivated and kind of like a self-starter to have those skills when working with a team to kind of be able to, hold your own, but also be able to offer support to the rest of your crew in other departments and kind of be like that contact point. Because if you're just very, I don't know, like blasé about everything and just kind of very passive with your work, regardless of what it is, I think production is going to be a very hard role for that individual. Just because I think you need to kind of have that drive to be on top of things and make sure things are on schedule and make sure everything's working well. So like I think YouTube's kind of like a great kind of like a mini experiment into that. Cause I mean, when we're making a show like such as Knights of Guinevere, like the pilot, like obviously it's a much bigger budget, much bigger scale. You're working with a crew of people. But I mean, really what a YouTube video is, it's that on just a smaller level, on a very individual level. So if you're good at doing it on an individual level, you can eventually kind of build up to the point where, you're working on a crew with people.
I resonate with that as a fellow. I was a production assistant and now coordinator, so I
Hell yeah.
understand. I agree. A
Yep.
lot of those skills are needed. What was your, I guess, favorite thing you learned working as a production assistant as your first job? Like from the pipeline, since you kind of get to see a lot of everything, what was your favorite
Yeah.
part of the pipeline?
Well, Owl was my first job in the industry, which is very intimidating because I was like, I hope
Definitely.
they don't hate me and don't fire me.
Right.
So a lot of pressure, but yeah, I mean, I think actually getting to like see the whole process of the pipeline, because from like an outside perspective, it's always just kind of like, oh, they're working on the episode. But when you're working on a show, you actually get to see like the day to day of what that looks like, which I don't think like people can really comprehend, like working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, making a show, like, and what just kind of goes into that. Like it's really like chipping away at a mountain to make an episode of an animated show. So yeah, I think that part of just learning it just in general was like,
Mm,
okay, so like this is how all this works. I feel like a lot of production is primarily involved with the design phase of the pipeline, which comes after scripts and storyboarding. And if you're lucky, you'll have a locked animatic at that time. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. And then you go into design after you're like, hello, design team, which is backgrounds, character designs, props, effects. And you're like, hey, design team, here's the storyboards. Here's our call out sheet that production did where we called out every new thing that we have to design. And then working with a team and like doing a launch meeting and stuff like that. And you're all going through the animatic or the boards together and you're like, you're designing this, and then this person needs this thing for their design. So this is a priority design for this person. I always enjoyed that part. That was a lot of fun and just kind of seeing like the nuance of it all getting
mm.
into design. And then there's like this whole process that I absolutely am just in awe of, which is getting X sheets and checking this is like a lost art because
Okay.
nobody does it because it's just we're moving further and further away because from like the traditional kind of 2D animation pipeline of the people who will look at the storyboards and like look at the animatic and the designs. And since, here in the US, a lot of animation is shipped overseas for the animation, we have this process of getting X sheets where we'll have a timer and like a checker, and they'll go through, whatever episode you're working on, and like they look crazy. X sheets, if you Google animation X sheets, they're like these long pieces of paper that have all these circles and arcs and lines, just kind of indicating basically for the overseas studio, here's the timing to animate this episode, which is like so insane that we have people that like know how to do this and like this is their job, because it is like such an unsung, underappreciated department in the industry, and there's like so few people who still know how to do this, which is why it's like amazing that they still exist and they are still incredibly like good at their job. And like legit DTVA, there was like 2 or 3 checkers that I think I worked
Whoa.
with, like, the entire time there. It's like, that was it. We just kinda, like, swapped them around,
For
basically.
every show? There were
Yeah,
only
like,
2
at
or
the
3
whole company.
checkers?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For all
Um,
Disney TV Animation 3?
uh-huh. At least that,
Wow.
it could be possible that there's some that I didn't work with while I was
Yeah.
there, but it was kind of
Right.
just like, "You're a guy," or, "You're a woman." But
That's
yeah, but it's, like,
incredible.
such an unsung, underappreciated, part of the process,
Yeah.
and, like, without them, it wouldn't get done. Like, the animation would not get done because 'cause there'd be a million questions, and the overseas studio, like, wouldn't know how to animate it and, like, how to time everything out. So, yeah, it's crazy. That was, like, mind-blowing to me of, like, that whole process.
Yeah.
X sheets have always fascinated me because 'cause I've only worked on 3D, but I'm familiar that those exist, and I'm like, "I'd love to know how that works, how they do
Mhm.
it." I'd watch their TED Talk.
Yeah, for sure, like, that'd be a great TED Talk. But yeah, like, there's a whole pass where there's, like, the lip reading, where it's, like, the mouth charts that you'll see for, like, 2D animation, or, like, the phonemes of, like, a character, and it's someone just going through and just listing those out for every time a character talks. And then it's, like,
Wow.
you go to the timing for, like, all the other stuff, if a character moves their arm. And then also, like, we'll have the designs done, so it's like, okay, which designs are in this scene? Which designs are moving because it's a prop or a character or whatever. It's like, it's absolutely insane. And we're like, "Hey, can you get this done in, like, a week?" Cool, awesome.
Mhm.
Wow.
And they do it,
Yeah,
which is
it's
like,
like, well, it's crazy.
wow. I remember, Melissa, you showed me an X sheet or something to do with the timing stuff, like, years ago, and I remember just being like, "That's wild. I can't speak this language."
And that's such a good way of
Wizardry.
putting it, is that, like, it's a language that, animators are able to understand. But yeah, it's very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to the timers and checkers out there.
Hell
You're
yeah.
so amazing and important.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wanna be on our podcast to give us the TED Talk on
Yeah, of
We'd
timing and
love to talk.
checking, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this is like when we learned about layout artists. It blew our minds, and we love layout. Shout out to all the layout artists. They're so cool.
Yeah, Knights of Guinevere is kind of like the first time that I've been working with layout artists, because at DTVA, they weren't really a thing there, just kind of based on the pipeline that DTVA had. But over at Glitch, we have layout for the background department with 3D layout, and then also the animators will also use 3D layout there, and then for we do character layout as well for poses and stuff like that. So it's really cool because I'm like, I haven't like gotten a chance to work with these departments before, so it's been a very cool experience.
Yeah. That's a good segue into your new role, your design coordinator. Congratulations. I feel like that's an awesome promotion from
Mhm.
assistant. What has that experience been like, moving from production assisting to on multiple shows to being a full-on design coordinator?
Yeah, so ended up it's actually been a little over a year now at this point that I've been over at Glitch, which is crazy that time flew that quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I was an assistant on Owl House, and then I was a PA on Hailey's On It over at DTVA. And then I ended up hopping over to multi-platform as a coordinator, which is like their shorts department. So if you see like,
Mm.
I don't know, like the theme song takeovers at like on Disney's social
Yeah.
media accounts, like I was in charge of those. So it's interesting working in a short format where I'm like, all right, 2 minutes tops. That's it. You
Yeah.
get 2 minutes. To now like going back to, Nights of Guinevere being like 25 minutes. I'm like, this is so much longer. But yeah, like the thing about Glitch is that Knights of Guinevere is the first 2D pipeline. So it was really like building out a pipeline to kind of work with our show. I think Dana mentioned this with all the news about the green light happening this past week. I think she did an interview just kind of like talking about getting to kind of make her own pipeline. Cause Disney, it's like they very much have like their way of how they want to do things. And, each show can have its nuances and how they, carry out their production pipeline for their individual shows. But at the end of the day, it all falls under kind of the Disney TVA pipeline umbrella. So building out a 2D pipeline has been a wild experience. It's like obviously, building something up kind of from nothing. So there's going to be bumps along the road of like, okay, this is working, this isn't quite working. How can we make this better? How can we streamline this? So it's a lot of that, of just kind of like tweaking and adjusting where we can improve things. So I've never gotten to be a part of that before. It was always just kind of established like, this is what we're doing. And it's, with Disney, it's like, it's nice kind of having that structure and established support that's already there. But it's like, if you're looking at a show like, Owl House versus like a show like Phineas and Ferb or like Big City Greens, Owl House's needs would probably have benefited more to what we're currently building at Glitch versus like a Big City Greens and a Phineas and Ferb, which are a lot more simple. They're shorter format, they're 11 minutes. DTVA's pipeline is very much built for those kinds of shows versus like an Owl House. I mean, Dana even had an in-house animation supervisor for each season of the show, which is like unheard of basically, where like if you ever notice there's like, every few episodes there'll be like one scene that just really pops off with the animation.
Those
It's because we
sequences.
had it's because we had an in-house animator for
Mm.
those, where it's like we just had someone on the crew kind of pick and choose what shots they'd want to animate or plus up. And that's like something that DTVA had never done before, but it's something that Dana really wanted. So like, now working at Glitch, we have a team of, 2D animators in-house to do the rough animation, which is like unheard of. But it's also why you look at Knights of Guinevere and you're like, oh my God, it looks beautiful. And it's because, we're
Yes.
able to have a team in-house to work on the show. So that's like been also like a super unique experience for me, is
Mm.
being able to have so much of the show be made in-house, and kind of with our core crew, which has been like such an amazing experience, because like I can't think of many other places where that's the case, where I'd be able to experience that.
Definitely. I love listening to you talk about new pipelines because everywhere I've worked, I've had to help build a pipeline from nothing, even at big studios. Like, my first job was on Modern Warfare, and essentially there was a pipeline, but I had to restart it for the assets. And then my second job was also assets, but for making shorts for music videos for Mattel. And it was also like, okay, let's figure out how to make this better because they had one, but how to improve it. And now I'm at a new place, and it's again like, how can we improve pipelines? So I love that kind of work. Like, let's make a workflow. Let's make a pipeline that works for our needs.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting that you guys are getting to do that, because
Yeah.
when you're doing it from scratch, it's a little bit of chaos because you at the same time have to get stuff done right now, but you also want to ensure things are better in the long run. So it's a
For
cool,
sure.
difficult challenge.
I told Melissa that her TED Talk should be on creating workflows, and she said no.
No,
But I still
you
think
so
it'd be
good though.
funny.
You so good.
I don't think it would be funny either, but I think speaking to sort of something that's been mentioned a couple times this episode, it's just, like, so exciting to hear people that are excited about, like, the pipeline and the workflows and, like, building something with other people. I think that for me is always fascinating, but I'm social work coded, so, like, when when s we're able to work together and make things, like, that's my ideal state.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's like no one wants to work on a pipeline that doesn't work. That's just going to make
Yeah,
everyone miserable. It's
yeah,
like, why would you continue, kind of like hitting your head against a wall when you can improve everything for your crew so they're not struggling? Because that's just going to lead to more problems down the road. So if you're able to catch
right.
things earlier, have that open dialogue with your crew of like, hey, like, is everything okay? Like, what's your feedback? Like, is this working for you? Is so crucial and so important just to make things better for everybody, and then make the entire show run smoother, so we don't have to like be stressed out about deadlines. We
Mhm.
don't want people crunching or anything like that because it just ruins the morale of the whole crew and just makes the entire show suffer. So it's like it's so important to set up something that works for the project that you're working on. And I think a lot of the things with these studios is that they want that umbrella, like this is how all the shows will work. But when you're bringing in so many different projects, it's like, well, no, it's not like a one size fits all. You really have
Right.
to kind of adapt and change to the needs of the show in order to make it, run at its most optimal. So, yeah.
Yeah. Excited for you to have this opportunity because I think it's gonna make the shows better, and you can already see it from what's come out of
Yeah.
Glitch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
congrats.
Very
It's
exciting
awesome.
stuff.
And then our final question usually is, do you have any advice for anyone who wants to be working in production?
The ind I get this question and it's just like the industry is like so bleak right now. It's just like it's such a hard question. This week though, I don't know what it was about this week. This week was crazy with the animation related news. I don't know what happened, but it's like Matt Brawley announced
I
his
know.
project and kickstarting it like after his project with Rebecca Sugar got canned. I'm like, what do you mean?
Devastating news.
Um so it's like you had that. You had the Owl House graphic novel get announced. I had no
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
that that
yeah.
was getting announced this week. I had known it had
So
been
sick.
in the works for a bit. I was like, "Oh my god, this is dropping." And then I was like, "Oh, 24 hours from now, Knights of Guinevere greenlight trailer dropping." So this week like went crazy with the news. So I'm glad that there's kind of like this renewed energy I feel now. If you're wanting to work in production specifically, I would say try and learn as much of the pipeline as you can beforehand. I feel specifically like during COVID and now with indie animation really taking off, I feel that there's a lot more access to information about how a show works. So it's like look into that, understand the pipeline, because I do feel that there's a lot of people who are very enthusiastic, very motivated, want to get in the industry, want to become like a showrunner, but I feel they just, like, don't have that knowledge, and I feel it's almost kind of, like, romanticized view of, like, what it is to
Yeah.
make a show or work on a show, and it's like, that's not to say that the work is not rewarding and that we don't, love what we do, but it's like, there's hard days, it's like,
Yeah.
there's
Still a job.
challenges with any job. There's gonna be challenges and obstacles and stuff like that, and so I think it's important for people to have that knowledge of the pipeline and how a show works before they kind of just jump into it just blindly, just beyond just like an optimistic go-getter kind of attitude. Like keep that, but also just have, the knowledge as well. We touched on it earlier, like communication skills, very important. Organization, also very important because kind of at the end of the day, you're the touch point with so many different people in relaying information to everybody. And also, it's a lot of like file organization and looking at the schedule and seeing if we're on track and forecasting. It's like, you know, X, Y, and Z happened. And so it's like now we're tracking behind pace and we're gonna miss our due date. It's like, can we bump out the schedule anymore? Do we have a buffer week? Looking ahead to like future episodes, it's like, okay, well, it doesn't look like this episode's as big. So can we eat into some time here since it doesn't look like this episode's gonna be as big for, the current episode we're working on. So it's a lot of that, like problem solving, being adaptable. I mean, we were just kind of saying it, adjusting pipelines, changes are going to come. So it's like being adaptable and open to a change is also a really big one. I would say, like, from, like skills wise, in terms of like connections, I feel like I'm probably the worst person to ask on this because I had just a very
I
odd
mean, we
way of
said it.
getting into
Easy
the
10-step
industry.
program.
I'm just like, so I'm like, I feel like I'm the worst person to ask because I'm like, I made YouTube videos and the creator liked my stuff. So I feel one of the things I will say is make connections with other people who are looking to get into the industry. Join Discord servers, follow people on Twitter, follow their stuff. I don't know how often people use LinkedIn when it comes to animation. I feel people have it just to kind of have it. But I would say 100% like get involved with Discord servers and kind of have a network through social media. Cause I feel that's like where, a lot of the industry is heading in terms of getting hired. It's seeing people's work on like Instagram, Twitter. I know there's like ArtStation as well. But yeah, I think like if you're active in those spaces and making those connections, word gets around. It's a very niche industry where it's kind of like everyone knows someone. And so like having those leads is super important. So it's like, making those connections is crucial. And then, it's like if you have those connections, then it's like, hey, I know so and so. I think they'd be really good, this project. And then it's like, you kind of skip over the step of like the online application where you're just kind of like throwing it into the void and hoping that someone reads it. Or you have a bit more of that kind of direct connection through a referral or recommendation. So yeah, so I think that's really important. Have your contact info in a very easily recognize like noticeable spot where it's just like, your name, if you graduated, stuff you've worked on, email address, website. Just have it be very clear because if you are kind of in the hunt for, a position, whether it be production or an artistic role, whoever's checking out your stuff probably isn't going to want to go digging through to like, let's see if I can find this person's email or their website. Just have that information like very easily accessible for whoever might be checking you out and considering you for a position. So yeah, so I would recommend that. Also, like, and if you are someone who's looking like outside of production, like art stuff, work on like little side projects. I think experience is like so important. So it's like I know it's not going to be like a Knights of Glitter fully animated, fully comped, fully voice acted thing, but
Right.
just make an animatic of something. Like use your friends' voices. Find voice actors who are looking to get into the industry and be like, hey, do you want to voice like this one character in this little animatic that I'm doing? Kind of just helping each other out in that sense. Because I mean, doing that, I feel that you're already getting like a step ahead of so many other people who are just like, I've got the resume, I've got the portfolio, like I'm just waiting for my time, for my chance, and not kind of putting in the effort to actually create and make new things. I feel if you're
Mhm.
putting that out into the world, it gives you a better shot of landing that position or role. But yeah, I would say overall, just for like general animation advice is to do those things. But like definitely be involved in the space. It's really hard to break into this industry if you're just kind of keeping to yourself and not getting involved in the community surrounding animation.
I think that's all perfect advice. As someone who I think did a lot of the same things to get into production work.
Yeah.
And to go back to your first point of learning the pipeline, there's a lot of great resources. One of our former guests, Alisoon, has this great masterclass that you can buy and follow along. It's really helpful for just learning the overall pipeline and anything else about production work. Super great. This podcast has a lot of pipeline overview if you just listen to some episodes.
Yeah.
And I think another shout out I wanted to give was to other shows as examples that are like people are making stuff and to support it. The Three Tomes by Brianna Navigas. There's Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl by Kiana. I'm forgetting the last name. And there's just so many other projects going on, like Matt's new show, and lots of stuff happening, proving you don't have to wait. Just work with your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And like I feel it's so crucial too, because I mean, kind of like we were saying earlier about like with doing YouTube and then working in production, like if you're able to make a short, an animatic by yourself, like that speaks a lot to your skill set. If you're looking to get picked up, because then someone's going to look at your stuff and be like, oh, well, they already did this. They made at a smaller scale individual level, an episode of a potential show. So like, I think that speaks volume that someone has the drive and just also the organization skills to plan that all out, and then the actual ability to be able to put something out into the world, I think is like so important and so crucial. So it's like, don't, wait on like the perfect opportunity or the perfect chance. It's like, if you have an idea, like start, executing on it. It doesn't have to be, again, doesn't have to be like fully voice acted, fully animated, fully colored, comped, start within the what can actually be accomplished, with whatever resources you have available to you. But like, yeah, that stuff like speaks volumes to your skills and abilities.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, Rebecca. It's just so fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love talking shop like this. It's fun to talk about the industry.
Yeah. You're super knowledgeable and your story is so fun. It's cool to meet someone who, I don't know, was part of a fandom and got to work on the show they loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very grateful for the opportunity for that. But and then we get to do it again with Knights of Guinevere. Lots of Owl
Yeah.
House people on that show. So it's like round 2. But we're all very excited for that.
I'm
Nice.
so glad that Andy Garner Flexer is working on that show because
Love
their
Andy.
work,
Andy's so great.
masterpieces every
Yeah.
time. So shout out to the whole crew and Knights of Guinevere. Congratulations on your green light.
Okay.
And can't wait to see what you do. You're gonna do great stuff.
Thank you.
That was our conversation with Rebecca.
I love hearing people excited about their work. I think that's such
I love it.
it's like such a highlight for why I love doing this podcast, sorry. And it's just like so far removed from the kind of work that I do, but like it's so cool to hear about.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting to see the journey they had because from going from like, I thought I was going to do sports medicine, but I always loved cartoons and I fell in love with this show. And then the show I was in love with, I got to work on. And now this is my career.
Yeah.
What a cool story
Yeah.
and a cool person.
True.
Thank you, Rebecca, for coming on our show.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Another superstar in the books.
Yeah, stars only.
Stars only on this show. Every time, every week. People are so lucky to get to listen to our show. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation and they're going to go share it on their socials and leave a little comment
Yeah.
and be like, Rebecca, you're so cool. Something like that.
Yeah. Get in the comments, leave a little note that says, Rebecca, you're so cool.
Yeah. Rebecca, you are so good at your job.
Yeah.
Something like that. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to drop that comment, share, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And this episode is edited by Marv. Our cover art is by Les. And remember,
There's
not
one
right
way.
There's not one right way to start a YouTube channel and then get employed by the person you were making the YouTube videos about.
There's not one right way to decide you actually don't want to go into sports medicine.
And there's not one right way to edit a video of a 1-year anniversary of the Owl House using one clip from every episode of the show.
It's wild.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.